Did you know that nearly 40% of relationships face hidden betrayals that begin with subtle, easily overlooked signs? Have you ever wondered if the person you love might be messing around behind your back? Stay with me, and by the end of this video, you'll gain invaluable insights into the key signs of potential infidelity and learn practical steps to protect your heart and emotional well-being. Hello, I'm Alex, and welcome to our channel where we share timeless wisdom, psychological insights, and real-life experiences to empower you in building healthy, fulfilling relationships. Over the years, I've learned that understanding the subtle nuances of human behavior, drawing from the teachings of great philosophers and my own personal journey, can be the key to recognizing when a relationship is in trouble. This video isn't just about pointing out red flags, it's about equipping you with actionable advice that fosters growth, self-respect, and genuine connection. Today, we'll dive into 10 crucial signs that may suggest your partner is not being faithful. We'll begin by examining behaviors like an increased focus on male colleagues and sudden shifts in work schedules, which might seem innocent on the surface but can be indicative of deeper issues. We'll also look at more subtle cues, such as a decline in physical affection, secretive phone habits, and even changes in how she presents herself. Through real-life examples and relatable scenarios, we'll explore how these signs manifest in everyday interactions and discuss their long-term emotional impact. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap on how to approach these delicate issues, whether that means having an open, honest conversation with your partner or taking steps to safeguard your own well-being. I encourage you to watch until the end for special tips on moving forward with clarity and confidence. And if you have any experiences or thoughts on this topic, please share them in the comments below. Your story might help someone else in need of guidance. Let's embark on this journey together toward healthier, more authentic relationships. Catching these red flags early can save you from prolonged heartache, prevent deeper emotional damage, and give you the chance to address issues before they become insurmountable. In my years of experience and through the wisdom of great philosophers, I have learned that early recognition of subtle signs, like slight changes in behavior or shifts in communication, allows you to evaluate your relationship more holistically. Remember, one isolated sign may not confirm infidelity, but when these signals start to accumulate, they invite you to take a closer look at your overall dynamic. It's about trusting your intuition and being aware of patterns rather than isolated incidents. I encourage you to reflect on your own relationships and share your thoughts in the comments below, because your experiences could empower others to seek clarity and build stronger, more fulfilling connections. Let's take a moment to overview the common red flags we'll be discussing. In this video, we'll examine 6 critical areas where signs of incompatibility often appear. First, there's imbalanced affection, or love bombing, when one partner overwhelms you with grand gestures that look impressive on the surface but lack genuine emotional depth. Second, we'll look at the lack of engagement in everyday moments. Imagine sharing a simple observation about a beautiful sunset or a favorite memory, only to be met with indifference. These small moments are the glue that holds relationships together. Third, we address poor communication, when discussions turn into misunderstandings or heated arguments instead of being opportunities for connection and growth. Fourth, mismatched values can create an insurmountable gap, especially when your core beliefs or future aspirations differ significantly. Fifth, the loss of authenticity, where you feel compelled to hide your true self just to keep the peace, is a major red flag. And finally, divergent future visions. If you struggle to imagine a shared future because your life goals or priorities are so different, it may indicate that you are not truly aligned. Each of these areas not only reveals potential issues in the underlying personality and mentality of the relationship but also provides a chance to reflect on what truly matters for long-term fulfillment. I encourage you to listen to your intuition and think about how these signs resonate with your own experiences. If you see these patterns in your relationship or have stories to share, please leave a comment below. Your insights could help someone else gain the clarity they need. Remember, early awareness isn't about creating doubt, but about empowering you to foster stronger, more authentic connections. Let's dive in and examine these signs in depth to understand their roots and what they really mean for your relationship. One of the signs you need to be mindful of is a sudden increase in discussion about male coworkers or friends. In a balanced relationship, it's perfectly normal for your partner to casually mention colleagues or friends here and there. However, when you start noticing that these casual mentions turn into detailed accounts, stories filled with admiration about a particular male coworker that used to be just one of many, this might suggest that her attention is shifting elsewhere. I recall a situation with a friend who initially would mention a coworker in passing during lunch, but over time, he became a recurring topic of conversation. She began to describe his every move, his achievements, and even compared him favorably to you without any apparent reason. What might have once seemed like a simple update turned into an obsession with his every detail. This change in conversation, while it could be harmless if it's just about forming new work friendships, should be closely monitored. Ask yourself, is this behavior a natural response to a new team member, or is it masking deeper emotional or even physical interest? The key lesson here is to stay observant and use these shifts as cues to evaluate your overall relationship dynamic. Recognizing that one sign alone might not be definitive, it's the consistent pattern that matters. If you notice that your partner frequently discusses a specific male colleague with unusual enthusiasm or detail, consider initiating a calm, honest conversation about your observations and feelings. Share your concerns without making immediate accusations, and listen to her perspective. Authentic communication can often clarify whether this is an innocent development or something that warrants deeper attention. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight might help someone else recognize similar patterns and take the necessary steps to safeguard their relationship. Unexplained changes in work schedule can be a subtle yet significant warning sign in a relationship. When your partner suddenly starts working late nights, taking on weekend shifts, or logging extended hours without providing clear details, it may indicate that her schedule is being altered for reasons beyond typical work demands. Imagine that previously, she maintained a consistent routine, but now you notice a pattern where she frequently mentions extra hours or vague work obligations that seem to appear out of nowhere. This inconsistency is not about one isolated instance, rather, it is about the recurring nature of these changes that should make you pause and reflect. In one situation, a friend of mine experienced this exact scenario. Her partner, who once had a predictable work schedule, began reporting back with stories of extended meetings and late evenings. Whenever she inquired further, his answers were vague and lacked substance, leaving her feeling increasingly uncertain about where his time was really going. Over time, this pattern led to a growing sense of disconnection and doubt, prompting her to reevaluate the overall dynamic of their relationship. The lesson here is to look for patterns rather than isolated incidents. Occasional changes in work hours can happen for legitimate reasons, but when these changes become consistent and are accompanied by a lack of transparency, it might be a signal to address the situation directly. I encourage you to reflect on any similar experiences in your own life and consider discussing your observations openly with your partner. If you've encountered this issue, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help others understand the importance of recognizing and addressing these red flags early on. In many relationships, an increase in phone usage and secretiveness can be a concerning sign. When your partner becomes overly protective of her phone or frequently checks messages in secret, it may suggest that she is communicating with someone else behind your back. I remember a situation where a friend noticed that her partner would always lock his phone as soon as she entered the room, or turn it off entirely when she was around, leaving her with a nagging sense of unease. This behavior, when observed repeatedly, can signal that he might be hiding something, even though one isolated incident might be innocent. The key here is to trust your instincts while maintaining a balanced approach. It's important to address these concerns through open and honest conversation rather than jumping to conclusions or letting paranoia take over. Ask gentle, non-accusatory questions like, "I've noticed you seem to be more secretive with your phone lately, is everything okay?" This can pave the way for a deeper discussion about any underlying issues that may be affecting your relationship. Remember, healthy relationships thrive on trust and transparency, and by communicating your concerns, you can work together towards restoring that balance and fostering a stronger, more secure connection. If you've experienced similar behaviors, please share your thoughts in the comments below. A noticeable drop in physical affection and emotional warmth is more than just a change in routine, it can be a significant signal that her feelings are shifting. When you recall a time when she greeted you with warm hugs, soft kisses, and small acts of kindness, and compare it to now when such gestures have become rare or even absent, it's important to pay attention. For example, imagine the difference between a partner who used to spontaneously hold your hand or lean in for a tender kiss and one who now barely acknowledges your presence with affection. This change might not occur overnight, but rather gradually, creating an emotional distance that leaves you feeling isolated even when you're together. In one real-life instance, a close friend once shared how her partner, who was once affectionate and loving, began to withdraw emotionally. He stopped initiating physical contact, and conversations became more perfunctory and less engaging. This shift not only diminished the intimacy they once shared but also left her questioning the future of their relationship. The lesson here is simple yet profound: the little acts of love are the glue that binds a relationship. Without these small gestures, the emotional connection can erode over time, leading to a deeper void that is hard to fill. I encourage you to reflect on your own relationships. Have you noticed a similar decline in affection? If so, please share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else recognize the importance of nurturing everyday intimacy and inspire them to foster relationships that truly honor both partners' needs. One clear red flag in a relationship is when your partner's social calendar suddenly becomes much busier, especially when these outings consistently exclude you. What may start as a few occasional nights out can quickly turn into a pattern where you are regularly left on the sidelines, as if your presence is no longer essential to her happiness. Imagine that she once enjoyed quiet evenings spent together, sharing stories and small moments of intimacy, but now she frequently organizes dinners, outings, or weekend trips with her friends without inviting you. Over time, this shift not only leaves you feeling isolated but also raises questions about whether she is seeking emotional fulfillment or validation elsewhere. I recall a real-life example of a friend who noticed that her partner, once enthusiastic about spending time together, began prioritizing group outings. Every time she suggested a shared activity, he would mention plans with his friends instead, often giving vague reasons that didn't add up. This constant exclusion created an emotional distance between them, making her feel unimportant and overlooked. The lesson here is that a healthy relationship relies on shared experiences and mutual respect for each other's company. When one partner's social life increasingly sidelines the other, it's crucial to consider whether this behavior is part of a broader pattern of neglect or simply a temporary phase. I encourage you to reflect on your own relationships. Have you ever felt consistently left out or questioned where you fit in your partner's life? If so, please share your experience in the comments below. Your insight might help someone else recognize that true intimacy is built on inclusive, shared moments and mutual respect. Remember, by addressing these patterns early on through honest conversation, you can either work together to re-establish balance or make a more informed decision about your future. If you notice that she starts excessively questioning your whereabouts or becomes overly defensive when you ask simple questions, this might be more than just a casual concern, it could be a significant red flag. Sometimes, such increased monitoring behavior is not about caring for you, rather, it can be a projection of her own guilt or insecurity. I remember a situation where a friend was constantly being accused of being unfaithful, even though she had nothing to hide. Every time she mentioned running errands or spending time with colleagues, her partner would ask for details and show a level of suspicion that went far beyond normal curiosity. This relentless scrutiny eventually created a toxic atmosphere in their relationship, making her feel distrusted and confined. The constant accusations not only eroded the trust between them but also led to a deep emotional disconnect, where open and honest communication became nearly impossible. The key lesson here is that balance is essential in any relationship. Trust, along with the ability to have open dialogue, forms the cornerstone of a healthy connection. It is important to address these concerns by calmly discussing the issue, rather than allowing paranoia to take over. Reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever felt that this kind of behavior has created unnecessary tension in your relationship? I encourage you to share your thoughts and stories in the comments below, as your insights could help others understand the importance of maintaining trust and transparency. Remember, a relationship thrives when both partners feel secure and valued, and addressing these red flags early on can pave the way for a stronger, more respectful bond. Frequent complaints about the relationship can be a clear signal that there is a deeper, underlying issue at play. In a truly healthy relationship, occasional frustrations are normal, but if your partner consistently voices dissatisfaction without offering constructive suggestions, it may indicate that she is not fully emotionally invested. For instance, imagine a scenario where every conversation turns into a litany of complaints, about the way you spend your time together, the little things that once brought joy, and even about the most trivial matters, without any effort to resolve these issues. I once heard about a friend who felt increasingly dejected because his partner would repeatedly criticize their routine and express unhappiness, yet when he tried to discuss solutions, she simply dismissed his efforts and continued to focus on the negatives. This pattern of persistent negativity can create an atmosphere of unresolved tension and emotional distance, leaving both partners feeling misunderstood and disconnected. The lesson here is that these frequent complaints are not just casual grievances, they serve as a call to engage in honest, open conversations. They invite you both to step back, reflect on what is really causing the discontent, and work together to find meaningful solutions. Remember, a strong relationship requires mutual effort and the willingness to address issues head-on. If you notice this pattern in your relationship, it might be time to gently ask, what can we do to make things better, rather than letting resentment build? I encourage you to share your thoughts or similar experiences in the comments below. Your insight could help someone else recognize the importance of constructive communication and taking proactive steps to restore harmony. If you notice that she becomes hard to reach or frequently cancels plans at the last minute, this is a serious sign that her priorities may be shifting away from the relationship. In a healthy partnership, both individuals make an effort to spend quality time together, but if you find that she consistently misses planned moments, whether it's a dinner date, a weekend outing, or even a simple coffee meetup, it could mean that she is preoccupied with something or someone else. I remember a situation where a friend of mine was left feeling increasingly isolated as her partner would cancel their plans without clear explanations, leaving her to wonder if he was simply too busy with other commitments or if there was an emotional connection elsewhere. This recurring pattern of extended unavailability is not just about a single instance, it reflects a deeper, systemic issue in how priorities are being set. The key lesson is to discuss these patterns openly and honestly. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences and share your thoughts in the comments below, because your insights could help someone else recognize the importance of consistent presence in a relationship. When you start noticing that items you know well, like personal care products or favorite accessories, are suddenly missing, it might be more than just forgetfulness. In a healthy relationship, small belongings have their place, and if they vanish without a clear reason, it could be a subtle yet significant sign that she may be sharing them with someone else. For example, imagine if you consistently keep track of your partner's special perfume or a set of cherished accessories, and one day they just aren't where they used to be. This isn't about occasional misplacement, it's about a recurring pattern that should make you pause and reflect. The lesson here is to treat these small discrepancies as important clues. They might be easily overlooked, but when combined with other behavioral changes, they can indicate underlying issues in the relationship. I encourage you to observe carefully and consider discussing your observations with your partner in a calm, non-accusatory way. If you've experienced something similar, I invite you to share your story in the comments below. Your insight might help someone else recognize and address these subtle red flags early on. Remember, a relationship built on trust and transparency values even the small details, so don't dismiss these signals lightly. Direct evidence of cheating, seeing your partner engaging with another person in a compromising situation, is often the most undeniable sign that something is seriously off. However, it's important to approach such observations with caution and clear thinking. Witnessing your partner in a compromising scenario can be incredibly shocking and emotionally wrenching, yet before making any assumptions or accusations, it is crucial to ensure that you have concrete evidence. I recall a friend who, one evening at a social event, unexpectedly saw her partner in an intimate situation with someone else. The shock of that moment was profound, and it forced her to confront the reality of her relationship. Instead of reacting impulsively, she took a step back, gathered all the facts, and then initiated an honest, calm conversation with her partner about what she had witnessed. The lesson here is that evidence should be a catalyst for constructive dialogue rather than an excuse to launch immediate accusations. When you have solid evidence, use it to foster open communication and to explore what may be causing this behavior. Ask questions like, "Can we talk about what I saw?" and share your feelings without resorting to anger. This approach not only preserves your dignity but also gives your partner the opportunity to explain or work through their issues. If, however, the evidence is overwhelming and the conversation confirms your suspicions, it may be time to reevaluate your relationship. I encourage you to reflect on your experiences. If you have ever encountered direct evidence of infidelity, how did you handle it? Share your story in the comments below, as your insights could help others navigate these challenging moments with strength and clarity. Remember, a relationship built on trust and transparency requires facing even the hardest truths with courage and honesty. Not being true to herself can be one of the most revealing signs of underlying issues in a relationship. When someone starts to behave differently, dressing up more than usual, changing their interests abruptly, or acting in ways that seem forced, it may not simply be a phase, but rather an attempt to impress someone new or hide her true self. Imagine a scenario where she once cherished quiet evenings at home reading or painting, but suddenly, when she's out, she adopts a drastically different persona, embracing a lively, outgoing lifestyle that contrasts sharply with how she behaves when you're together. This sudden shift can be jarring and may indicate that she is no longer comfortable being her authentic self around you. I once heard about a woman who loved her hobbies and took pride in her unique interests. Over time, she found herself gradually abandoning these passions in order to fit into what her partner seemed to expect. The more she tried to conform, the more disconnected she felt from who she truly was. This loss of authenticity not only created a rift in their emotional connection but also led to feelings of resentment and inner conflict, ultimately undermining the foundation of their relationship. The lesson here is that authenticity is the cornerstone of any fulfilling relationship. When you allow yourself or your partner to suppress your true identity, you risk building a connection based on pretense rather than genuine understanding. True intimacy thrives when both people can express who they really are without fear of judgment. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever noticed a partner suddenly changing in ways that don't feel like them? Please share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below, as your insights could help others recognize the importance of staying true to oneself. Remember, a relationship where both individuals are authentic and supportive of each other's true nature is one that can foster lasting happiness and personal growth. Sometimes, our fears can make us see problems where there might not be any, which is why distinguishing genuine patterns from isolated incidents is so critical. For example, if your partner misses a call or responds a little late on a rare occasion, that could simply be due to a busy day. However, when these behaviors start to occur consistently across different aspects of your relationship, it signals that something deeper may be amiss. I once had a friend who, after a single incident of a missed call, immediately assumed the worst. Later, she realized it was just an isolated case, but the pattern of such incidents eventually led her to have an honest conversation with her partner about their communication. It is this kind of balanced, calm evaluation, recognizing that one or two signs might be explainable, but a series of similar behaviors warrants a closer look, that truly makes a difference. I encourage you to approach these situations with open, honest dialogue instead of jumping to conclusions. Reflect on your own experiences and consider sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight might help someone else find clarity, and together we can learn to address our concerns with strength, intelligence, and mutual respect. When you begin to suspect that your partner might be cheating, the first step is to take a moment for self-reflection and carefully gather evidence. Ask yourself if these behaviors are recurring patterns or just isolated incidents, and assess your own feelings without letting anxiety cloud your judgment. Reflect on what you have observed and write down specific examples. This process helps you clarify whether your suspicions are grounded in reality or influenced by insecurities. Remember, taking time to understand your emotions is essential before confronting any issues. Once you have a clearer perspective, open communication becomes the next critical step. Initiate a calm, non-accusatory conversation with your partner by using open-ended questions like, "I've noticed some changes lately, and I'd like to understand what's going on. Can we talk about it?" Such discussions should focus on expressing your feelings and observations, rather than launching into blame. In my own experience, I once encountered a situation where a friend gently confronted her partner about subtle shifts in his behavior, and that honest dialogue led them to address miscommunications that had built up over time. This approach not only opens the door to understanding but also sets the stage for healing. If the issues persist despite your efforts to communicate, seeking professional guidance can be very helpful. Couples therapy or individual counseling offers a neutral space to explore these concerns with the help of a trained expert. Therapy can provide tools to navigate difficult conversations and work through emotional hurdles, helping both partners understand underlying issues and develop healthier interaction patterns. Lastly, it is vital to set clear boundaries. Establish what is acceptable in your relationship and communicate those boundaries clearly. If repeated attempts at addressing these issues fail, you may need to consider whether this relationship truly supports your well-being. Sometimes, the healthiest choice is to step away and pursue a partnership that aligns with your true self and values. I encourage you to reflect on these steps and share your experiences or questions in the comments below. Your insights could help someone else who is facing similar challenges. Remember, taking control of your emotional health and setting firm boundaries is a powerful step toward a more fulfilling and authentic life. In conclusion, let's recap the key signs we've discussed today. We looked at 10 red flags, from love bombing and lack of everyday engagement, poor communication, imbalanced dynamics of giving and receiving, loss of trust and mutual respect, inauthentic behavior, to divergent visions for the future. These behaviors in her personality and underlying mentality can signal that she may be messing around. Recognizing these signs early gives you the chance to address issues before they become insurmountable, and empowers you to make informed decisions about your relationship. Remember, these signs are not a definitive end but an opportunity for growth. With honest communication and mutual effort, many challenges can be overcome, or you may decide to choose a healthier path that honors your true self. I recall a story of a man who noticed subtle changes in his partner's behavior, small gestures that no longer matched the genuine affection they once shared. Instead of succumbing to despair, he initiated open dialogue and, with professional guidance, both partners worked to rebuild trust and reconnect on a deeper level. Their journey wasn't easy, but they emerged stronger, more resilient, and ultimately happier because they faced the issues head-on. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever noticed any of these signs in your relationship? What steps did you take, or what would you do if you found yourself in a similar situation? Please share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Your insight might be the support someone else needs to take action. If you found this video helpful, consider liking it, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Continuous learning, self-reflection, and self-respect are essential for building and maintaining healthy relationships. Let's continue to empower ourselves and each other to create relationships that are not only loving but truly fulfilling.